Are you an overwhelmed SaaS founder ready to make the leap from leading a team to leading an organization? Join us each week as we refill your think tank with actionable tips and strategies from great business minds you know and those you don't know yet. This is SaaS Fuel with your host, five-time entrepreneur, SaaS founder, and globetrotting adventurer, Jeff Maines.
Welcome back to the SaaS Fuel podcast, where the future of business in 2026 moves fast, automates everything, and still can't explain why that one meeting could have been an email. I'm your host, Jeff Maines. I hope B2B SaaS founders like you grow from traction to scale. Here, growth is more than just numbers. It's about crafting a future-proof company, premium valuation, and leaders who build a business of significance while living epic, adventurous lives. What actually breaks during transformation? Is it your tech or your people? Big systems promise efficiency at scale, but anyone who's lived through a major platform shift knows the real challenge isn't the software. It's leadership, trust, and getting humans to move forward together without burning out or digging in their heels. In this episode, we dig into what it really takes to lead through complex change, especially when modern tools collide with legacy systems, long tenured teams, and deeply ingrained habits. You'll hear hard earned lessons on building teams that feel respected, aligned, and motivated, even after leadership missteps. We explore why involving employees in technology decisions isn't a nice to have, but a critical strategy for reducing resistance and increasing adoption. The conversation also pulls back the curtain on why so many large scale migrations struggle, not because the technology isn't powerful, but because organizations underestimate the skills gap and the emotional side of change, and it's big. And for leaders who live in the future but rely on others to execute in the present, there's a candid look on how visionary thinking works best when paired with teams that are genuinely excited to build. If you're navigating transformation, scaling through complexity, or trying to leave behind something more meaningful than just shipping software, this episode offers grounded insights on leading with intention and making change actually stick. Our expert guest last Thursday on a special New Year's episode was Leslie Shreve, founder and CEO of Productive Day. Leslie delivered a practical reset for the new year on productivity for overwhelmed leaders. She broke down why endless tools and meetings create what she calls gray work and how that confusion quietly kills momentum. Leslie introduced concepts like atomic tasks, workload management, not time management, and her fast action formula, giving listeners a clear path to reclaim hours every day, reduce stress, and make consistent progress without complicated systems that we're never going to use anyway. Our founder last week was Varun Jain, founder of ComplyJet. He helps reframe security compliance as a growth enabler, not a blocker. Drawing from AI, enterprise software, and consulting, Varun showed us how trust is often the missing piece in stalled B2B sales cycles. He shared how AI can simplify SOC, HIPAA, and ISO readiness, why transparent trust centers actually matter, and how continuous monitoring protects companies as they scale. If you missed either episode, go back and check those out. Really, really good stuff there. And remember that our SaaS Fuel Growth Accelerator Toolkit is only going to be available for about another week before it goes back in the vault. So if you don't have that yet, or you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out our Christmas episode. Lots of cool stuff for that one as well. My guest today is Chris Carter, founder of Aproyo and a nearly 30-year veteran of the SAP ecosystem, who's seen enterprise technology evolve from rigid on-prem systems to global cloud-driven transformation. Chris built Aproyo with a clear point of view: depth beats breadth. While others spread thin across multiple ERPs, Aproyo focuses exclusively on SAP, supporting more than 1,000 SAP environments worldwide. That's amazing. From production systems to full-scale migrations on to SAP S4 HANA. In this conversation, Chris shares lessons from his entrepreneurial journey, what it really takes to lead through massive technological change, and he has seen it over 30 years for sure. How his leadership style evolved through hard-earned mistakes, and why team dynamics matter just as much as technical excellence. Welcome someone who's not just managing SAP systems, but reshaping how organizations move forward with them. Chris Carter. Hey, Chris, welcome to SaaS Fuel.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm as well. Your journey spans startups, exits, some failures, and now four companies at once. What is the through line that connects all of this?
Oh, what is the through line that connects all this? Probably just my motivation. I am a rolling stone that lets no moss grow on me. I don't like being bored. And it's funny, since we talked a couple of weeks ago, I've gone out and started another company, and I actually am selling two of my companies. So I'm in the
Okay.
process of ebbing and flowing and all these types of fun things. So yeah, it's me. I can't just sit and do nothing. My wife hates it. My wife wishes I would sit on a beach with her and just be able to enjoy. And I'm just like, sorry, hon, not yet.
What is that in the entrepreneurial DNA that we just have to create, we have to build, and we're just compelled to do the next thing?
It really is. It's in our DNA. You look at, I've got children, two daughters. They have zero entrepreneurial spirit whatsoever. They'd rather go to a position. They both save lives as nurses. So I'm very grateful that, but neither one of them want to start companies. Neither one of them want to work 20-hour days. Neither one of them want to lose their hair at young age. They just, they, and along with other relatives and friends and family who do not have this type of spirit, they literally would rather go off and do something fun. For me, doing something fun is starting a company and writing 17 books and just being out there and trying to create. I'm trying to create a legacy for my family. I want to be able to sell these companies and eventually have a nonprofit that works with giving away funds for students to be able to go to colleges and individual organizations to be able to have things in the epilepsy foundations and the cancer foundations. So that's what I'm striving to be able to do that eventually. And then I'll drag my children back in and then they'll work with me and we'll do those things. But it's at the end of the day, I have a belief that there's a higher purpose and a higher drive and you know what? I will never stop trying to do that until I'm either dead or so incapacitated that all the whiskey in my whiskey wall has been drunk.
That's great. So, what is the difference? You say eventually want to do that. What's the difference between eventually and today? Is that something that you've started and you just want to do more of it, or is this something that is down the road?
So we've started our foundation. We're going through the process of getting it 401c3 and all that fun stuff. And we give away dollars nowadays to individuals. My wife and my daughters are in the process of, we literally go through applicants who want and need college scholarships and individuals who are part of the epilepsy foundations and those individuals who are battling cancer and what they're looking to do. So we go through all these different processes for companies and for individuals. I really would like to have a full time. I would like to step back from all the technology and be able to focus on, okay, who needs help? Who really needs help in this world? You get some people who are, and I don't get political, I don't get religious, I don't get whatever. As long as you're willing to work and do better for yourself, and if you're one of those people, instead of just sitting on a couch and pumping out six kids, I'm not going to battle you for it. But I am going to help those people who truly want to better themselves on a day to day basis. And it comes from being an entrepreneur. I literally started with zero. My mother was on government assistance and we couch hopped. I was actually talking with somebody the other day. They made some comment. I said, "You have zero idea about my background. I couch hopped six different elementary schools in 2 years because my
Wow.
mother was that type of individual who was looking for this, that, and the other, my birth mother. And so I said, I was that kid. I could have gone back into the system, but you know what? I had that inside of me. I never wanted to be that way. I always was striving more. And so through college, I paid my own way with scholarships and with activities. Through my life, I've always worked. I've always had multiple jobs. It's funny. People talk about these side hustles nowadays. When I was a young man, when I was in college, I had 3 jobs. when I got out of college, I had my main job, and then I was doing bartending and stuff because they give me this side hustle stuff. It's just called work ethic. And
Yes.
it's something that I think we're missing these days. It's kind of like your book, Small Fish in a Big Pond. You know what? I'm a small fish in a big pond when it comes to technology, but that's why I create more and more, hopefully, positions for individuals inside this technology pond, because there are so many people that are small fish that you bring those small fish together and all of a sudden they become a bigger fish and a bigger
Yeah,
fish. And then you've got a whale. And once you get to those sharks and those whales, those are good times.
without a doubt. So tell me a little bit about the journey in building the company. You doubled down, this is SAP related, doubled down on SAP upgrades and built solutions around what's one of the most complex systems out there and somewhat change resistant.
Yes, SAP. I started AppRoyo in 2011. And what we did is we took our cloud based solutions and we took those out to the masses. I'm very fortunate. I created one of the first SAP clouds from an ECC and an R3 perspective back in the 1990s. And we moved that forward when with this start of this company. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to be able to help organizations take a very complex system, managing, running, and hosting that environment, and make it as easy as possible. So we created our tool sets around that. And then as AppRoyo curated, I took that information and I took homomorphic encryption and I took our monitoring tools and built it into one tool factory. And that factory is called Overwatch. And so we'll monitor, manage, implement, upgrade, and support organizations on their new journey to S4 with our Overwatch tool. And it's one nice, neat tool that anybody in the SAP ecosystem could use if they want, and we'll support them on it. And so it flows back and forth between infrastructure, between networking, between cybersecurity, between all these different capabilities that organizations are looking for. And it's been fantastic.
That's awesome. I love that. And that's doubling down on something like that and going all in. One, that's super, super early in the process. Back in the 90s, the internet was fairly new. R3 was taking off and was blowing up. And then you've continued on in one
Yeah.
of the biggest SAP upgrade cycles in history. I mean, customers are
Oh, yes.
still behind, without a doubt. Why are so many companies dragging
Yeah.
their feet on and going to S4?
Oh, that's a great question. I think right now people are using the word tariffs and all stuff, and that's really not it. What it really comes down to is there's not enough people in these organizations that know how to do major business transformations. Because these S4 migrations, it's not the same old that you would have from the ECC world where you're going variations. This is a full blown going to the web, and you're now being hosted in a cloud. And all you have is your computer screen in front of you here, and you have tiles that are going to be doing your work and saving you time, energy, and all those other pieces. So, what they have is you don't have enough people out in the ecosystem. You have an SAP ecosystem that is so old that literally 47% of all SAP staff members are over the age of 45. So we're
Wow.
old. Look at me, I'm a graybeard. And then you've got all these companies that they literally say, oh, geez, I just don't want to train my people. I can't train my people. I don't know if they're going to do it as is. And that's where you get these failures and the ROI activities die. So part of it is time, people, money, and not understanding what they need to do, why they need to do. But they literally have a year left. You've got to have this done by the end of 2027. And if not, you're going to major fees and cost structures and over. But there's never going to be enough people to do all that in that period of time. And so they just sit back and hope SAP and pray. There's that hope and pray again that SAP is going to give them that ability to be able to change.
Yeah. You talk about the pain of change as a reality, and I think that it absolutely is. But if in today's market, I think that's one of the things we have to do more often than anything else. Not something to sugarcoat the pain of change. I mean, how do you help customers move forward when resistance is baked into the organization?
Yes, it's a great question because you get a lot of these organizations that they're very afraid of change. And it's interesting. I was talking to a first time CIO in the SAP ecosystem. He had been working in Oracle, came over and joined this organization, and it's a major trucking organization. And he literally was telling me that, oh, we don't need to worry about our change management. We don't need to worry about our team. Oh, we don't need to worry about this and this. And I just kept listening to him. And finally, I had to say to him, oh, look, I appreciate it, but this is not the project that we're going to be working on. We're going to take ourselves out because you obviously don't know this ecosystem. You don't know the application. You don't know the tool sets. You don't know how this works. This is not Oracle. This is not just to turn the key and you hope that this is a major business transformation. And you obviously don't understand that in your new role. You've got to change your people. You've got to change your attitude. You've got to change your landscape. You have got to go to one of the clouds. You haven't even picked which cloud you're going to go to yet. And to tell me not to worry, kid, I've been doing this since 1989. You might want to start listening to some of the old guys because we know what the hell we're talking about. And so I am very upfront and I am very honest, probably too brutally honest. I will punch you in the nose with the facts. And if you don't like the fact that I'm not sugarcoating it, I'm not the guy you want to work with because I'm going to come in quite often and I'm literally on planes. It's funny, I was just looking at my itinerary. My entire month of November, I'm literally on the road almost every single day except for Thanksgiving because of the activities that we've got going on in Q4 for all these migrations that we have going on.
Yeah.
I go in and I meet with the C-levels, I meet with the project managers, I meet with our teams. Now, mind you, some of that is done remotely, but most of the times for every C-level executive of all these customers we work with, I go on site and I have to deliver positive news and negative news. And I'm very honest with both of them, how great they're doing or how shitty they're doing. And you have to. This is so important of an upgrade cycle. You have to do those. And you have to be very cognizant of that when you talk to them.
With the users of SAP, how open are they to change versus moving to other roles or learning new skills, up-leveling themselves versus moving out or moving to different companies or different roles? Are companies prepared for that?
They are not. They truly are not. As a matter of fact, it's funny, I'm talking about all these different customers that I get to talk with. I was talking with one very early this morning. I have an executive call every week with them. And they were just telling me that 6 of their team members have given their notice since they sat down and said that they were going to start their migration. They do not want to relearn SAP again. I said, okay, that's great. Do we have people to backfill them? Do you have, they literally were saying, we don't have the people. We don't have younger individuals. And I made reference to those stats that 47% of the ecosystem is a bunch of us graybeards. The problem that we have is we're also not training them. Even though SAP has a great university program, those young individuals, they want to get into the fun stuff. They want to get into AI and they want to get into that tech. Now, mind you, SAP's got some great AI stuff with their Joule and activities wrapped around, but it's not being positioned to them properly. So these kids don't understand what the fun and the wow factors. So you get these companies with that, and they're either moving them off into a different direction because they're in their 50s and they're getting ready to retire, and they literally say, "No, I don't want to train. If you don't move me somewhere else, I'm going to take off somewhere else." And then you get unions and all these manufacturings and stuff, and that comes into play. And then you get organizations that literally say, "I don't have the people that can comprehend, understand, and do any of this work." And then those are the ones that you literally have to stand back and say, okay, how are we going to help you with this? How are we going to support you? So we'll go out and we'll help. And that's why SAP just bought a new company that is part of a staffing organization. They're going to help these organizations with staffing the projects and getting these individuals either who are going to be trained or need to come into the organization that are currently trained, and then to move that forward. And we'll do something similar, but we tend to bring in our team members and then we'll work with them on what they have and what they don't have and then move them forward. But I'm not going to staff up their companies for them. That's for them. We'll help them with activities and training. But so a lot of them are moving into different roles or completely moving out of SAP itself or moving to companies that have the variations of SAP that they have knowledge on and aren't going to move into the S4 arena at all.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's always been a really hot topic. I was in that SAP world for about 8 years. It's been a while back, but on the staffing project side, and that's always been a challenge. And I think looking forward, and we're right there again as S4 is rolling out,
Yeah.
and really being forced on companies that they really have to do something.
They are being forced, but they've all known about it for 5 years. This
they
isn't anything
they put it
new.
off.
They knew about it during COVID. They knew that they were going to have, they gave them a little bit of grace. And now you've got some companies who have got extenuating circumstances that SAP is saying, okay, we're going to work with you based upon these extenuating circumstances. Let's look at your environment. And if you've got an old archaic, and they'll do, but for the lion's share of these organizations, they've just been sitting on their hands, hoping that they don't have to pay for it, hoping that it doesn't have to move forward. And then you get these different groups. And I'm going to be very blunt here. You've got DSUG in Germany, you've got ASUG in America, and you've got these other user groups that literally will sit there and try to tell SAP what to do. And let's be honest. Did anybody tell Microsoft not to be doing upgrades? Did anybody tell any of these other organizations, you can't be doing upgrades? You can't be changing the philosophy. Guess what? It's the same thing here with SAP. You can't tell the owner of that application that you've been using and they've been doing all of these new upgrades and implementation activities and getting all this new code and making things work extremely well for them. And then all of a sudden saying, you know what? I'm not going to pay you your maintenance fee anymore, and I'm just going to stay on the version I'm at until I feel like it. Okay, Microsoft would shut you down like that.
Right.
You will never be able to use another Microsoft product. And I have the same philosophy. Look, if you're going to be that petty when it comes to your systems, I get it. It's money, it's time, it's your hair. But at the end of the day, you have an organization and you have an obligation to your company, to your customers, to your staff, to your shareholders, to make sure that you are doing what's right for the entity and using the tools that are effective for you to do better. And if you're not willing to do better, it's like us in the real world. You have to do better, people. Right? There's a gentleman I follow on social media, and I'm not a big social media guy. His name is Joey Swallow. He's a weightlifter, and he talks about these individuals who are doing mean things inside of workout gyms and all stuff. Great young man. Fortunate enough, I got to meet him in Chicago. I'm not a big Cubs guy, but he threw out a baseball at a Cubs game, and he couldn't have been nicer. And his statement is, you got to do better. And I tell people that, listen to what he says. You got to do better for your customers, for your staff, for your business, for your stockholders, for the entity that you are. Don't you want to be the best that you can possibly be? So don't tell me you're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Let's clean up. Let's heat up the bathwater.
Good. A lot of companies, especially with early implementations, really had two options. One is going from an old system to a new one. You can either change your processes to match the new system, or you can change the system to match your current processes. And so a lot of companies did that. Implementations went forever and so many changes. What's your take on that now with having to upgrade, and maybe for other companies that are listening and thinking about this, not just with SAP, but other things? What's your take on either changing your process to fit the software or changing the software to fit your process?
I'm going to take off the glasses because I'm going to point right at people who are listening to this. Stop trying to change the software to fit your processes. When was the last time you had best practices in your organization? I've yelled at this one from the mountaintop since 1989. There's a reason why they have best practices in CPG, best practices in retail, oil and gas. These are the best practices, and they continuously update. Your practices to fit into the best that there is BS. Stop trying to do it. You can no longer do that in S4. With this new migration to Rise, you have zero capabilities of making any changes in the system, because now that system is run by SAP and they do not allow you to make any, it's whatever that motion is that kids do these days. You have zero ability to make any changes inside that production system or any of the other systems like you would have done in the past. You can't even get access to that production system anymore. It is locked down. It is now in the hands of SAP, just like any other cloud system. Salesforce was started off as a cloud. You couldn't make changes in production. You got what you got. And when they made an update, you got what they made as an update. Same thing with SAP now. So just stop trying to reinvent something that you are not the smartest person in the room about. That's SAP's job. That's why they hire those people to make those best practice systems. You focus on your company, what it does, how it does, why it does it for its customers and for your partners, and let SAP do what SAP does. Make a great software application.
I'm sure there would be people that would push back on that and say best practices, that's what everybody else does, but it's the special snowflake case
But I have
of
so much specialty in my company. My
I
company
hear that
is
all the time.
special.
They're 98% the same, but they feel really special and they think that
Now,
their process is really
there
special.
are a
And there
couple
are
tweaks.
some that
Yeah.
do have that.
A couple tweaks here and there, and that's going to happen. Every company has a couple of little tweaks here and there. But at the end of the day, your processes are no different. Tell me how many different processes you need for accounts payable, accounts receivable, for HR, for running your travel environment, your warehousing. Please, everybody does the same types of warehousing or just-in-time manufacturing, or it's the same type of activity. You just may have a little difference here and there when it comes to a certain process because of what your industry specific is. But that's why they have the industry specific applications as
Sure.
part of the environment. But
And
you're right,
configuration as
98 to
well.
99% is all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. That's why they do have the industry solutions, why they have configuration. And just like Salesforce, there's so many things that you can do inside of there without changing the code. And then that opens up opportunities for marketplace, for third-party apps, for lots of other things as well. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how this continues to develop.
That's a great point you just made there in regards to the third party apps and the portal. If you go into the me.sap.com, you can see all the third party tools and you can leverage any and all of those. So now they've also got that from the AI perspective. They've got the templates that you can use for you pick whatever function, if you want to do in finance, AR, AP, you want to go through they've got over 400 different AI based templates that you could literally almost run an entire organization if you take just the core functionality and utilize AI with it as part of Joule. And these people that I talk to some days, they have no idea what they can't. And I'm like, have you looked at it? Have you done a little research? Because I have. Here it is. And it's interesting. That's why I wrote that green book right there behind my Georgia Tech hat, who, by the way, is number 7 in the country this week. Go Georgia, go GT, go Jackets. They, with artificial intelligence, and the cool thing with technology is it's continuously growing. There is never a day that I don't get one of my news feeds in the morning at 5 a.m. that says that, oh, nope, nobody's doing any new changes in technology. No new AI developments
Exactly.
these days. Not happening. Every day there's something new and evolving. And you look at the SAP side, you look at Oracle, you look at Salesforce. Salesforce just had their big meeting down in San Francisco, and they had a bunch of new launches. Of course, it happened the day after they had an outage, but of course they had it 3 days before AWS had their big outage.
Right.
But at the end of the day, everything is changing and upgrading and having new modifications. So that's a wonderful thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I went from a Commodore VIC-20 to now working on Azure inside of a cloud.
Who would have thought? Yeah, way back then, what it would turn into.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last time we were talking, you're running 4 companies, selling 2 of those, started another one, so 3.
Yes.
How do you stay focused without becoming the bottleneck in each one of those?
Oh, that is an incredible question, because I was that bottleneck many years ago. And what I've done is I hire incredible people. I have incredible COO. I've got an incredible CIO for different parts of different companies. I've got an incredible marketing team that goes between multiple companies. I bring in, I cannot do everything, and I cannot do it excellently. I'm a great SAP advocate. I'm great with the technology. I know how to implement, what to do, why to do, but I don't know everything. And that's why I've got a CIOs. I also can't do that from a sales perspective. And I'm like, bring in, and I tell young people who are trying to be entrepreneurs, look, you can't do everything. I know you can't afford all of it, but you know what? Find that one person that is your equal on the opposite side. If you're great with
Yeah.
technology, find a sales, marketing, and promotions person. If you're great on that side, find the great technology. As a matter of fact, I belong to 2 coaches groups, and I was just talking to one of them the other day, and a young lady, probably, I think she's like 26, 27 now, she found her better half technology wise. And they've got this great little company that is just booming right now because they match up so good. And it's about lawyers, and it's finding lawyers and helping lawyers. And I look at her every time, and I'm just like, oh, I love you. You get it. And some entrepreneurs get it and some don't. They think, no, no, I can do everything. Hey, I'm the boss around here. Don't worry about me. I'm going to do it all myself. Jump on my back. I used to be that guy, and then it doesn't work that way. And then once I started finding great people, whew, made my life a lot easier. And now I just go around and they all report up to me, and we have conversations, and I give them my ideas. They give me ideas. We have feedback. We have 25-minute meetings. We never have hour-long meetings unless it's absolutely positive. But I do everything. We typically do anywhere. We start at a 25-minute meeting. We don't go any longer than that. When it gets to be that 20-minute mark, I let everybody know you got 5 minutes. Anything else, we got to go. And then that 5 minutes afterwards, I let everybody goes off. They go to get their coffee. They go to the restrooms. They check their emails. They do whatever. I want them focused for 25 minutes. And those are our meetings, structured.
That's good.
It's the Jeff Bezos effect. Come in prepared rather than chit-chatting. I don't want to care. I don't want to talk about your kids. I don't want to talk about my kids. I don't want to talk about my family. We're there in the meeting. We'll do that when we get to the coffee machine.
Ever notice how every leadership book tells you to take the journey, but none really show you the map? Well, after scaling multiple companies to over 260 million in combined revenue and working with over 1,000 leaders, I discovered the key difference that separates leaders who burn out from those who build unstoppable momentum. It's not strategy, not charisma, it's not even luck. It's relationships, specifically 4 of them. My new book, The Captain's Keys, reveals the stability matrix, a proven system that transforms leadership from survival into sustainable success. Inside, you'll discover the 4 critical relationships every leader needs and exactly how to build them. You can get your copy at thecaptainskeys.com, Amazon, or your favorite bookstore, and it's available in print, ebook, and audio. You don't need another playbook. You just need the right people in your boat. When you have those 2 opposite sides, that's Gino Wickman talks about that in Rocket Fuel, the visionary and the implementer, and you get those 2 together, and it truly is rocket fuel. Of experience that. Do you consider yourself more of the visionary side, or are you more the implementer?
I'm more of the visionary.
Yeah,
I
you
am
are.
more of Steve Jobs than Wozniak. And it's funny, I just made that reference because I'm very fortunate. I got to meet Woz at an event, an SAP event. My PR girl, Allison, she interviewed him up on stage, and I sponsored the event. And I
That's
sat down
awesome.
with him, and I got maybe 10 minutes with him one on one. And it was so cool because I started talking about these high level ideas, and he just looks at me and he goes, "Oh, you're a visionary. I see it." I said, "Yeah, I'm that guy." And you got to have both. I am definitely a visionary. I can get technical if I need to, and I can get into the weeds, but not as well as I used to be able to do 20 years ago when I was on the
Sure.
keyboards. But I am that guy that sees AI, and I'm the guy that sees the cloud. and I can create and build the vision, and then I can have the smart people go off and build it.
I asked the question, but it's obvious. If you got 4 companies that you're running at the same time, it's clear what you are.
I appreciate it.
But we have to have that other side,
Oh
or
God,
nothing
yeah.
gets done. We have a bunch of great ideas and they never go anywhere without somebody to implement and really catch the vision and go, "Ooh, I can make that happen." And they get really excited about making it happen.
I think I have a great ability of bringing in the people around me who I know are going to be excited about something. When we started building Overwatch, I had 3 people that I knew were going to be extremely excited to help build this for me. And then we built that, and now we launched. And then I got the sales and marketing people, and then I knew exactly which people to pick out. And I still do that to this day. I've got individuals with other my companies doing things that I know who I believe are the right people. Sometimes you got to take a person off your bus. Sometimes you got to put a new person in. But there are times when things happen and you didn't read the room right, and you go from there. But at the end of the day, you keep moving forward. It's kind of, I'm going to move this real quick. It's kind of like my Rocky. That's one of my favorite quotes of all time. It was in Rocky 4, I believe, where he talks to his son about moving forward. Life is nothing's going to hit you harder than life itself.
Yeah.
You got to keep moving forward. It's not about how hard you can take a hit, but how hard you can keep moving forward, getting up and moving forward. That's been sitting on my wall for ever since that movie. And I make that reference to a lot of people in this world. Just keep moving forward.
That's awesome. Building teams that scaled, you've done that. You've built some teams that didn't do so well. What do those early missteps teach you about leadership today lessons you still use?
That happens at every company at some step and point in time within the organization. When I first started out, again, I thought I had to do everything. I would bring in people just to do specific tasks and hope that they would do stuff and throw people at something. And it didn't work out that way. You had a lot of animosity at times. You had people that were like, no, I don't need to do this. I'm better than this. I can do something else. And back in the day, I was not a very calm and level headed individual that I am today. I think it was because I had too much hair back in the day, and used too much hairspray in the 1980s. But at the end of the day, I've matured. I've learned how you need to build cohesive teams, and you bring them together and you start to expand that team and hope those individuals at first work together because you've targeted the people that you want for specific tasks, and you've seen who they are, and maybe you've worked with your HR team, or maybe you worked with other project men. Hey, I think these people are going to work together. Then you start to watch them work together. And it's a perfect example. And it's funny, I'm wearing all black today like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs had the pirate crew. If you remember the movie that he and Ashton Kutcher and some other people, they had this crew that flew the pirate flag inside of Apple.
Yes.
Nobody touched that team. That was Steve Jobs' team. I look at it a little bit differently. I look at each team, say, look, you've got the responsibility as that team to grow and to be able to nurture. And if you see people that you want to bring into that team, let's have those conversations. What value are they going to bring? How are they going to work together? Can they handle what we're going to do? I'm still a part of teams where I work with my group, and I'm literally texting, emailing, calling them 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Or when I get up at 5 o'clock, I'm texting an email. Hey, I had this idea. I want to do this. I'll send photos from my bathroom of things that I wrote down that I will have written down on my notepad next to my bed. My wife hates this. I'll sit there with my phone and I will write something down. And then I will take and I'll go into the restroom attached to our bedroom. I'll send this out to my team in India, or I'll send it to my team in Brazil, or wherever I may be in the world. Guys, this idea came up. Think about this as we're moving this organization. Can we do this with I've got a Kofax environment that we're working on right now. Instead of doing a full Kofax restack, how about we do this and this? And I will, some of my teams, do you ever sleep, Mr. Vampire? So you do notice I am pasty white and I wear a lot of black. And it's probably because it's thinning, but I digress. Teams are very important. I made the mistake one time of making a team member cry. Literally, I made him cry in one of our meetings, and I felt horrible afterwards. And I talked with my wife about it, and I talked with my business mentor, who I just got to see 2 weeks ago. And it did not make me feel good. I blew up at them like you wouldn't believe. And I still remember this to this day. And I can't do that. As a leader, I had to learn, look, everybody's a cog in this wheel. You've got to make sure that you're treating them all equally. But if one is falling behind, you need to, instead of scaring them, threatening them, being the jerk to them, try to work with them. If it doesn't work out, then you need to replace them fast, and you need to put somebody in there that can do the work, and got to go from there. But never take your time. Don't, pardon my language, pussyfoot around it. Understand that there's a failure. Maybe it was on your side, maybe it's on their side. You don't know what's going on in their life outside of work. Maybe there's something going on out there. Move them to another part of the company, or if there's something else to do, go from there.
So in that situation, how did you make it right with that employee, and how did that affect the rest of the team? Did it bring them in? Did it push them away? What was the result?
That individual ended up staying not in the group, but in a different part of the organization, and as a different group that I would interact with on a daily basis. I did apologize to them immediately the next day as part of our group, and I literally laid it out with everybody. That was unacceptable on my part. I apologize. There's no excuse that I could come up with in any way, shape, or form for that activity. Just know going forward, that will never happen again. I may raise my voice, and I may question you, and I may question the activities, but I will not react in that way. And I haven't since that time. That individual and I did have a one-on-one. I took him out for a coffee and we had a talk. Found out some things that are going on with him, and that he wasn't being productive. And we just decided to move into an area that we could focus on 40 hours. And literally within 2 years, he had left the company to go somewhere else. And of course, we wished him well. And I never don't wish anybody well that leaves, but we walked through that process. And I think that also made us better as an organization, because people knew that going forward, I wasn't going to be the jerk that I was at that point in time. And I was not the jerk going forward after that, but I still was a demanding SOB at times. You still got to be.
There's
You
a
are the
difference.
boss. That hat weighs heavy on the crown. The crown weighs heavy on the head that wears it, or whatever that statement is. You've got to be, at the end of the day, that the buck stops here. The crown is on your head. You're the individual that makes things happen. And I delegate a lot of that. And if you don't bring in what needs to be brought in, we will find somebody who will bring it in. But I'll give you a little bit of leeway. Let's make sure things happen.
For founders that are out there in legacy industries, and I'm thinking like finance, banking, insurance, healthcare. I mean, there's an endless number of legacy industries. Manufacturing would probably fit into that. What is the key to introducing modern tools without triggering cultural whiplash inside the customer's organizations?
Slowly. Bring people involved, get people involved to discuss new applications. One of the things that's interesting is when we go on site and we're talking about some of these third-party tools and the new activities going on with SAP, we'll demo these tools. We'll see how they integrate. What are the new, if you're going in and you're going to do a new CRM in Salesforce, or you're going to do a new Zendesk activity, bring the tool in and get people involved. I want your opinion. Hey, customer service rep, I want your opinion. You're going to be using this on a day-to-day level. What do you like about the current solution, and what don't you like about the current solution? And then have your team work up what is good, bad, and the good, bad, and ugly of everything. Lay down, do the demo, but get them involved. It's amazing when you talk to somebody and I'm just going to use customer service because we've got Zendesk and we do customer service AI tools. We're testing out their tool, which if you're on Zendesk, don't go to the AI tool yet. It doesn't work very well. But I digress. Have them get involved to give their opinion, because now they feel that they're part of the organization. They're more in tune with the team. They're not just somebody who's working a keyboard, working the phones, or working the text and email channels from customer support activities. They feel like they're a trusted part of the team. Now, I've got 173 staff members around the globe. I want them all to feel like they're a trusted part of the team. But there's times when I haven't spoken to the team in a while, or they haven't spoken to me or somebody else within the organization. They're doing their job because we do a lot of remote work because of the way COVID changed the dynamics and how we hire our processes now. So getting them more and more involved is a wonderful thing. And that does that for them. And then you can expand upon the solution, why it works, why it's going to be beneficial, and then start the process of the implementation and the teams. And besides, during that part, you can find people who are extremely motivated to be a part of that team.
So if you're a founder or maybe a leader, executive leader in one of those industries or really any company, but I'm thinking more of the legacy executives, what should you start doing today to make sure that their business is more resilient no matter what tech trend hits next?
Yes, great question, because tech trends change continuously. We were just in
Yes.
the cloud, and now we're in the AI realm, and who knows what's going to be. Now it's becoming quantum computing. Not everybody's going to change on the drop of a hat. We're not NVIDIA, we're not AMD, we're not these Microsofts or whoever that can just drop billions of dollars. You got to be selective on how you're going to move technology forward. Have people on your team who are going to bring you information about these technologies. Is it a benefit to my company right now, or do we need to stay back and say, you know what, let's take a look at that in another 12 months, or let's look at that in another 24. Don't be I'm a firm believer in being cutting edge, but not bleeding edge.
That's good.
I want to look at applications and I want to see technology evolve. I started playing on the first AIs and stuff, but back in the day, we used to call artificial intelligence machine learning. So start utilizing and understanding what these applications and tools are, but you do not need to be bleeding edge. It will start to catch up, and then you'll start to see what the applications that you're currently using, everything from, let's say, warehouse management scanners and barcoding and warehouse management tracking solutions and manufacturing, they're going to start evolving. And you can watch the progression of the applications, if they're good, bad, or otherwise, and start that process. But as I say to organizations, you do not need to be on the bleeding edge. Let's go cutting edge or a little bit further down the road and go from there.
Fantastic. It's good, very good advice. A lot of wisdom there. Where can people learn more about you and about Overwatch online?
Yeah, come and see me on LinkedIn. Anybody that's watching that wants to connect, say that you saw me on the podcast and connect. And I always answer my LinkedIns. I always have conversations back and forth with people. It's funny. I travel the world so much. I'm doing speaking engagements or doing something with the books or meeting with company. I meet people from this today. This is my 90th podcast of the year.
Wow.
So it's
That's
funny.
awesome.
I get people that thank you. I love helping and nurturing and giving information willy-nilly, free of charge. I'm not going to charge you to get an opinion and have a conversation. It's about growing our technology and our ecosystem and helping each other out. I wish it would go to other parts of our ecosystem and globe and world. Why can't we help everybody out? But at least in the technology world, I'm here to help others and to help them grow. So if I'm out somewhere and you say, hey, I saw you on the podcast, can I talk with you?
Awesome.
Hey, if you buy me a whiskey or a coffee, I'm yours. I am yours. But yeah, go to my LinkedIn page, go to approyo.com, go to mugatuai.com, go to carterspub.com. I'm on all of those. And if you're up in Wisconsin, come and see me at Carter's Pub, and I'll have a bourbon with you, because I don't drink coffee in there. I only drink the bourbon.
You have a favorite bourbon? That's got to be the most important question.
Yes, I do. It's Garrison Brothers.
Oh, Texas brand.
Texas.
There we go.
I'm a huge fan. I got connected with it several years ago. A good friend of mine is a minority owner of the company. Shout out to Robert at PwC. He is a minority owner. Him and his wife go there and they actually bottle the bottles with everybody. And I all of a sudden started drinking it with him many years ago and fell in love. And so I actually get that shipped up to me personally through our distributor. And on the other side of my wall here, literally On the other side of that guitar from Brett Michaels, I have about 100 bottles of bourbon and whiskey, and it's growing. The new Sonora is coming in hopefully this next weekend.
That's great. They definitely are a fantastic company, and I love that. Texas.
Go Texas.
Yeah, there we go. Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Thanks for being on SaaS Fuel.
I truly appreciate it, and I love what you guys are doing. It's why I follow you guys, and you're a part of my everywhere I travel around the globe. All I listen to are podcasts. I don't listen to TV unless it's something sports. So you're locked in. So I'm happy I could be on finally. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Chris, for coming on the show and sharing your insights and resources. You can learn more about Chris and Aproyo at aproyo.com. As always, all links, highlights, resources, and full show notes are available at saasfuel.com. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel as well. It is at Champion Leadership. Thought leaders share. Share this episode with the person who always asks, what problem are we really solving? And somehow saves the meeting every time. Everyone who shares this week gets a pocket-sized decision coin. Flip it for clarity, ignore the result, and then confidently say, the coin confirmed my instinct. How do enterprise development teams move faster without creating chaos under the hood? Next up, Love Kapoor, technology leader at Bit, joins us to explore the future of developer tooling. From building fintech platforms processing $100 billion annually to scaling modern development practices across large teams, Love shares how open source foundations, AI-assisted workflows, and platform thinking are reshaping enterprise software delivery. And then what if finding great podcast guests or landing the right shows was effortless? Coming up 1 week from today, Alex Sanfilippo, founder of Podmatch, breaks down how he's helping independent podcasters grow influence, expand reach, and monetize more effectively. From matchmaking hosts and guests to simplifying podcast growth, Alex brings a builder's mindset to the creator economy. Have you ever thought about having a podcast for your SaaS? This would be a great episode. Alex is fantastic. I'm really excited about having him on the show. And so I will see you next time. And as always, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to SaaS Fuel. Full show notes for each episode, which includes a summary, key takeaways, quotes, and any resources mentioned, are available at saasfuel.com. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're enjoying the content and getting value from these episodes, please leave us a rating and review at ratethispodcast.com/saasfuel. We'll be sure to read these out on future episodes.